Okay, right. So, just to begin then, would you guys like to kind of just introduce yourselves, so with the review, and maybe just like a little bit about what you do in Refarm'd as well, like, yeah.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Geraldine. I'm the founder of Refarm'd. I started working on it like about 1.5 years ago, and since a few months now, like I think since beginning of March, started growing the team to really get things going. So that's why we have now 2 other team members on the call, Patrick and Tatiana. If you guys want to introduce yourself as well.
Ladies first.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Tatiana. I joined Refarm'd about 2 months ago, but I heard about it a bit before, just really via a Facebook poll that Geraldine had put up. And I just moved from New Zealand. Well, I was supposed to move back to Europe, but now I'm stuck in Mexico for a bit during Corona. But working remotely has been fine, and I've been mostly looking at food policy, the organic certification, food business registration, and all those things that the farmers need to really get prepared and get all the paperwork done. And I've been communicating a lot directly with the farmers to see how we can support them in a good way and what they need from us.
Nice,
my turn.
and Patrick.
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. So my name's Patrick. I've been now with Refarm'd for about a month. And just like Tatiana, I got a poll on one of the Facebook groups here in Switzerland, and I filled it out. And then I thought, what a great concept! That was completely in line with some of the things I thought should be happening. And so I contacted Geraldine and I said, well, I'd love to help out any way I can. So I became a team member, and now I'm in Switzerland. Like, I don't know if I mentioned that. Then I'm now in contact with the farmers. I'm actually going to visit one on Sunday, so it's very exciting. And it's a baby project still, so we're still trying to figure out a lot of things and trying to figure out our place really. And so it's very exciting. As you can tell, I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all are. Thank you. And okay, thanks for introducing yourself. So obviously everyone is waiting to know a lot about just how Refarm'd works, and also it would be great to know your story as well, kind of like what did you do before Refarm'd and what inspired you to actually come up with the concept of Refarm'd as well.
Yeah. So personally, I'm a vegan since about 10 years. So since I started being vegan, I always wanted, to do something, to work in this environment and to do something for the movement. So I tried. Well, originally I'm from the hotel industry. I studied business and management in the hotel industry. I worked in different restaurants and hotels. And yeah, after becoming vegan, it was harder and harder for me to work in these places, especially because I was working in grill steakhouse restaurants and things like that. It's actually there where I became first vegetarian for a few months and then vegan. And so I created an online vegan shop to try to sustain myself this way. I worked on it a bit for a few years. It was in France. I'm from France. Then I moved on. I also at the same time tried to create an event management platform for ethical event management. So for people, doing like weddings and things like that, but they wanted to have it all vegan, like all the aspects of it vegan. 4 or 5 years ago, with a group of people, we tried to create a vegan village in Portugal. That's still going on right now. And yeah, so I worked on different projects like this, but I always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to have my own sanctuary, and work on the sanctuary. But I could never really get to the point to start one because I was a bit frustrated with the concept of sanctuaries, how they work right now, and the fact that I would be kind of limited to a certain amount of animals we can rescue. So I was always looking at land and things like that, and I was like, oh, if I take 50 hectares, I can only save so and so animals. If I take more, I can save more, and so I was never getting to that. And also the fact that we need to rely on donation was something I was not really happy about, because I have some friends who have sanctuaries and who struggle a lot. And it, in my opinion, yeah, I wanted to find another way to have models, sanctuaries, another model for sanctuaries where they could be self-sustainable, and also that tackles a bit more the problem at the source, if we can say that, because we cannot just continue saving more and more animals if on the other side they continue producing more and more animals every year. And also animal farming is one of the biggest resource consuming industries. So when we create sanctuaries and we use more land to save the same animal, same animals is not the best as well. So don't get me wrong, I think sanctuaries are amazing. They're doing an amazing job, and I think without those we will not be where we are right now with the movement. Because I mean, try to remember the first time you ever saw a pig running around in grass or a cow being cuddled. We would never have seen those images if there were no sanctuary, if sanctuary was not existed. And that's so important, as such an important part of getting people to change. So they're so important. But I wanted, yeah, to find another model where sanctuaries, also to have more and more sanctuaries, like to scale up, basically, to be able to give a push and to move forward a bit, and to save more animals and to use less resources and to have them self-sustainable. And that's how I think it was now 1.5 years ago, I came to the realization that it would be perfect if we could have the farmers, well, the animal farms, become sanctuaries themselves, because they already have the land. We will not need to get a new land. They have the animals. We not move, because when we have animals from farms, we have to find a home for them. We have to split the herd and things like that. So it's also something that is stressful for the animals. So they have the animals, and they have also the team, or they know how to handle the animals on a day-to-day basis. They don't know how to work on a sanctuary in the sense that they don't know how to work with animals that get old. That's something they don't know, and to treat certain diseases, because most of the time, if an animal gets a disease or breaks a leg, it's less costly for them to just send it to slaughter. So that's the part where we are helping them now. But they, on a daily basis, I mean, they know how to feed them, how to care for them, the space they need. I'm obviously not talking about huge farms and factory farms where the animals don't have a good environment. I'm more talking about small scale or medium scale farms where we could leave the animals, let the animals live there, continue to live there, and obviously without exploiting them. So that's how it all started. And then I needed to think about, okay, but obviously I need to convince these farmers, and also how do I make sure that they earn enough money to cover the cost for the sanctuary and for themselves without exploiting the animals. So I was looking about a way to create a new business model for them to help them sustain themselves.
Yeah, it was because of the presentation, but I got the link.
Is it okay? No worry. Yeah, and so I started, well, basically the last 1.5 years was a lot about talking to people in these industries, to farmers, ex-farmers, or people like in politics as well, regarding to subsidies and how, well, what we can do, what help we can get from the government, and people in general, people working with sanctuaries, people working with farmers, just to talk about this idea, this concept, and to see if it would even make sense to make something like that. And as I got more and more positive feedback, I was able to start drawing a solution for that. And that's how, yeah, we came to, in the end, to Refarm'd, and to this concept of helping farmers transition to become plant-based producers, because one of big problems that farmers have also is that every farm is different, and so I wanted to find a solution for farmers to transition quickly, easily, with less investment as possible. So there's not too much risk involved for them, because I don't want them to have to think about it twice. You know, I really want for them to say, okay, well, I can just try it. I don't risk anything, because there are quite some farmers wanting to get out, but they don't know how to do it. And the solution they had until now was either to just well, sell the farm or do something else, but that can be very scary. I mean, if you are in your 50s or something, just get out of that you have done all your life and your family has done, and try to find a new job or something. It's difficult. And if they just get out of farming, they mostly move to starting to grow crops or vegetables. But this is also something that's very difficult, because you cannot just use the land that was used for animals to grow crops. So there are lots of regulations, and it takes time and lots of investment, and you are not sure you have customers behind. So these solutions are really not scalable. It will not help transition farmers really more quickly. So I really wanted to find a solution that could be quicker for them and easier for them, and that adapts to all types of farm, even those who cannot start growing plants, because that's something that came back a lot, is that in some cases farmers cannot grow anything on their land. So how do they do it? And yeah.
And thank you. Yeah, like that's incredible, especially like considering kind of like all the different ventures that you've been on as well, to kind of come to that point as well. And the scale of it is just so scary. So like, yeah, like when you really think of like all the different kind of components that go into it, and that you'd have to consider, like that must be so overwhelming. So like, yeah, it's like, yeah, a complete inspiration. And do you have like kind of, you said you've like been working on it kind of like a year and a half. Do you have, and I remember like when I spoke to you a few months ago, you were speaking to some farmers, like in like the kind of, yeah, in like the process of talking to a few farmers. Like, do you have kind of any personalized stories that you could maybe share with us, like of your journey with like any of these farmers?
So with a farmer that would want to join, for example, you mean?
Yeah, so like, yeah, anyone that you might have already spoken to, or like are in conversation with, like what has like your journey with them been, or like what does that look like, you
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
even approach a farmer in the first place?
Yeah, I had to adapt a lot, because at first my idea was to just get to talk with farmers, and I'm like, oh, I'm sure if I just present them a good business model, they're going to be interested. But that doesn't work really like that. I tried that. It went pretty bad, especially if you come as a vegan and city girl. They don't listen to you, they don't trust to you. So that also makes sense. So I really changed the way I approach things, and that's why now I first wanted to find out if there would be interest from the consumer side of things, like, because if we don't have this side, then we don't have a model for these farmers to sustain themselves. So that's how I started to be a bit more active on Facebook and Instagram, and to see if there would be interest for this thing. So it got me opportunities to talk with a lot of people, and to get it going much faster. And there was a huge interest. There is a huge interest, and so my idea was that after that, so I have like a form on the website where people can show interest, and my idea was that, because I want the product to be global, so I want to have farmers all around the world, but I need to start somewhere. So the idea was that with this this form that people fill, I can then see where the most interest is, and then start there. And so that I would have like data that I could go then to farmers and tell them, look, I have so and so many customers in your area that would be interested. Would you be interested to change? But even that did not happen in the end like this. Even that changed, because whilst I was doing all that, I started getting contacted by farmers themselves, or by groups or organizations that work, that are trying to help farmers, or farmers that have already transitioned to a sanctuary, but are not yet able to sustain themselves, or are still struggling, to find ways to make it work. And so that's the strategy now, is like this, is like, I am not going to try and get farmers. I'm not trying, because it's a loss of time to try and get to change someone who doesn't even think about that, who is just happy doing what he is. There are so many other people who are struggling and who want a way out, and this is the people we are going to be starting to work with, and that's exactly what is happening right now. So right now we are talking to about nine farmers, and we have 2 of them that are ready to transition. We are really working with them and hopefully trying to make them actively transition by next month. We had lots of delay because of the situation, obviously, with the corona and things like that. And we have much more challenges than we expected also. So it takes a bit of while, but so yeah, we have started to be contacted by farmers who have interest, and as I mentioned, like farmers who already are a sanctuary, and so this is great for us because it really helps us to start and to really test our model, you know, with those people, because we don't have to try to convince them about becoming a sanctuary. We just have to test our model if it can work, because we're really in a testing phase, if I can say that. I don't consider having a solution right now. I'm trying things. We have an idea of a solution, but it's gonna adapt all the time, and we are all the time already. It's changing almost daily with the feedback we get from farmers, from people, from the situation we encounter. So it's evolving a lot. But therefore, from these farmers, so farmers who are already transitioned or who contacted me themselves of interest, these farmers obviously are more open to the idea, and we have less struggles with them. We have some who are not transitioned yet, or who just transitioned for a few months ago, and they're a bit more skeptical. All of them, you know, want to see other farmers do it first. So that's always a problem, because no one wants to start first, but they all want to join but not be the first one. Yeah, it really depends, and we have a lot of different situations with each farmer. Each farmer has a different story and different challenges they need to overcome. It's a lot about, I knew it was going to be also difficult on emotional side, you know, from the farmers, and that we will have to take all that into account. But it's probably much more than unexpected, because even if when they are open to transition, they carry such a burden after that on their shoulders all the time, because they know what they have done and things like that. So it's really hard for them, and lots of them just suffer through that. So it's hard for them to just get active and positive and like believing like they will have support, you know, for this. So yeah, it's really not easy, you know. As soon as you work with humans, it's never easy anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Saying that, you've brought 2 other humans with you, so
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear also a little bit about kind of what their role is, because I'm guessing you obviously like started off on your own, which I'm sure is probably like a really intimidating process. And just before we started this, Patrick and Tatiana were like sharing a little bit about how they joined as well. So like, yeah, like maybe you could go into your kind of roles or like places within Refarm'd, and like, you know, was there kind of like a need for particular things that you saw that like Patrick and Tatiana, like if you can share what your experience within Refarm'd is, or like the kind of growth or journey process that you've been through. Patrick, if you'd like to go first.
Sure. Well, like I said, for me, it's I've only been here for 1 month, so my role is really being defined as we go. I told Geraldine I can help in the best way I can. I come from well, I've been vegan now for 2 years. Actually, a few days ago is my 2-year anniversary, or vegan anniversary, or whatever they call it. And I come from. I've been working in HR before, so for large multinational corporations. And so when I think about this project, there's a lot of things I guess in the future that I can see that I could really contribute, doing presentations, you know, spreading the word, going to conferences, that type of thing. And then of course that's looking down the road. Right now we have we're talking with 2 farms here in Switzerland. So I'm here in Switzerland. So I'm going to be visiting one farm this Sunday. So I see myself becoming a lot more active in speaking with the farmers, because like for them it's also, I think it's also a scary thing. They're doing something new and they'll need some support. I tend to be, or try to be, a positive person and encouraging others. And I think that, like I said at the start, I think this project is very exciting, because I was thinking when you become vegan, it's like suddenly you have this, for me, it was like an awareness. I thought, oh geez, why isn't everybody doing this? It makes complete sense, and then, like Geraldine was saying, is when you try to approach people, my own family included, and try to tell them you should go vegan, and it doesn't work. So I think for me, I'm going to get involved with working with the farmer, and my role will really evolve. I can't really tell you exactly what I'll be doing next month, or two months from now, or next year, but I'm really committed to this working, because like I was saying, I thought, well, what a great idea, because there's a lot of farmers that are that would like to change, that are struggling, but they don't know how, and they have bills to pay, and so they're stuck in this situation where they have to continue doing something that they know deep down in their heart that is not something they should be doing. So when I heard about this project, I was like, well, this is great. This is perfect. This is a way to show them to get on, to start doing something that's right now it's in its infancy, but you can see that plant-based, at least when we're talking about plant-based milks, or a milk alternative, it's a growing market. I mean, I just see here in the local store, where before you could find maybe almond milk and soy milk, and now there's like 5, 6, 7, 8 different choices. So it's definitely something that's growing, and the farmers eventually, I mean, right now we're starting small, but are going to see that there is an alternative for them. And the great part of what we're doing is we're able to go and support them and show them, I don't know if show them the ropes is the right way to say it, but to really help them along, and help them grow, and provide them the support that they'll need. So I'm right now helping figure out in the logistics. I'm more involved with logistics right now, trying to figure out some pickup locations where customers can come. I think Geraldine will probably talk a little bit more about this, but we're right now trying to figure out how to logistically make this work for our customers to be able to get their milk. So I've been working with identifying pickup locations. And like I said, I'm going to go to the farm. I'm not a farmer. I'm a city guy myself. So this is going to be a new things for me. I'm going to have to get some boots to go and to walk around the farm. But I'm very excited. I love animals. So that's why I became a vegan. So I'm excited to go learn more about cows and pigs and all that stuff. And so yeah, that's
Thank you. And what about yourself, Tatiana? So like maybe just like what's kind of what is your role being, or what do you foresee it kind of turning it into?
Sure. So I guess being a global citizen who's all over the place, all over the world. When I became vegan 6 years ago, I started thinking, okay, this is all great, that's a growing movement, but why is nobody working with the farmers? And doing 2 internships a bit in food tech and sustainable supply chain after I graduated. During one of those internships, I got to see a whole supply chain within a vegan company, but they had no clue where all their ingredients were coming from, and the whole supply chain wasn't really sustainable at all, except for the vegan products. But I did get to meet the farmers one day who were potentially going to make a few ingredients, and it was such a touching experience for me, even though I'd watched tons of videos about farmers being interviewed. But I mean, this was in Chile, and they were just super kind farmers who would have just loved to hug all of them. And when I moved to New Zealand after Chile for a few months, I hoped to find something in the farming sustainable supply chain sector, but I couldn't really find anything too specific that was kind of going what I was looking for. So when I moved back to Europe, or right before I came across Refarm'd, and it was just really what I was hoping to find, because it was working with the farmers, working on a sustainable product, and chatting with Geraldine even before, like many months before starting to work at Refarm'd. I realized how Geraldine had thought this through so much, all the way from sustainable delivery, reusable glass bottles, the labels being sustainable, and all of that. And I think I'm also quite a multifaceted person, so I just love that this would include doing a little bit of everything. And startup style, we're all doing a little bit of everything. I probably suggest way too many volunteers that could help out than Geraldine would like. But I think the ones who have come in have contributed very well. And so because I speak German and English fluently, it's been good for me to chat with the farmers in Switzerland and the one in the UK, and helping walk with them through the whole process of what we have to do, what forms we have to fill out, registering a new food business, the organic certification, or figuring out if they're already registered, looking at what can go in the oat milk and what cannot to get the certificate, trying to find oat suppliers, looking at byproducts, what we can do with them, looking at sustainable labels, and really thinking all that through, and helping Patrick with the pickup locations and emailing a few. So it's really doing a little bit of everything. And the more I've chatted with the farmers, I think they have started opening up a bit more with me, and that's just a really fulfilling moment. And then they sometimes even apologize, oh sorry, I shouldn't be telling you this, or this is probably not something you have to deal with. But I just thank them so much, because I value that trust they put in me. And I'm also not the kind of person who can just say, yeah, I understand, you'll be able to figure it out. No, then I want to help them, and then I look into all these things for them. But then that has given me more ideas, for example, how in the UK we can also try and foster more a community of farms who have shifted, so that they can support each other and exchange ideas potentially. This is already more existent in Switzerland, but not so much in the UK, as far as I know. So that's more like for the future, that maybe also these communities of farmers who have shifted can inspire other farmers who might be interested in shifting. Because I think as vegans, we realize that if we didn't have a group of vegan friends or a vegan partner, we would feel quite alone, especially if family's not supporting you. And the same goes for farmers. I think it's even harder for them. If you're a vegan farmer and all your neighbors are not, you're physically really isolated as well. So that's something that I think we also, like, it's things that I didn't expect that would happen that we're looking into. And just connect, like reaching out to a lot of people also on social media to help out with a few things and give suggestions. For example, vegan vets, that's been great, and that's coming from the vegan community in general, not necessarily from the farming community or only the Refarm'd volunteers. And just as I was saying a bit before, we really want the whole vegan community to get involved with this. We're just trying to see how that's gonna go. But just the fact that we can ask often on social media and get ideas and support from people, that's already great. Okay, I think I just chatted here way too much, and I don't really know where I was going, typical me. But it's so exciting that this is a new thing that I've been waiting for so long, and that I get the chance to work with. I'm so grateful for it. Right now, we'll hopefully move back to Europe soon and work a bit there, but I could definitely see us taking this also to other countries or other regions worldwide where it's slowly emerging. And just being part of it is exciting. At some point also, hopefully, being able to meet the farmers and hugging them and their animals is amazing. I have 2 cows at a sanctuary outside of Berlin, and I just love visiting them. So I can't wait to do that more often as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Very passionate team, which is yeah, well, thank you guys. Obviously, your work is very appreciated by everyone. So I think we might pass it up to questions that are like from the like viewers that are here as well. So I've done lots of question asking, so I'm going to pass it over to Daniel.
Okay. Good. Hello again. Was just in the undercurrents of trying to solve technical problems, but everything is good. Everything is calm. So I've been keeping track of some of the questions. We're going to go through some of the ones that people have posted, and the first one is from Lawrence. Lawrence, would you like to ask that question?
Oh yeah. Hey. So yeah, my question was, what do you think is going to be or will be the biggest hurdle when coming to scaling up Refarm'd to like factory farms? Because you said you mostly deal with like smaller scale farms at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. So for now, the model is really will not work with factory farms. That is something we're probably gonna have to reflect on and find solutions, because the whole concept of Refarm is to have these farmers keep the animals on the land, you know, and to allow them to end their lives there. And and so obviously we cannot do that with factory farms. We cannot just leave the animals there. So we would have to find homes for all these animals. And for now, there is not a good solution for these animals, and to find homes for them. On a really longer term, one of the ideas I had is that, well, imagine big, like imagine we have 100,000 of farms that shifted, that are now sanctuaries. After several years, their herd will start to die from natural causes. So what we want to do is to really encourage them to continue being a sanctuary, and to therefore home new rescue animals. And when we will have that much farmers and that much land space, we'll be able to tackle bigger farms and to have solutions for them. But for now, it's really difficult. Another solution that some people are thinking about, but we don't have solution for now, would be to find some ways to have land trust, where we could start, having putting herds of animals there. But the real problem is to find a solution for these animals, because if we start working with factory farms, you can probably have solution for the factory farm itself, to change the building into producing mushrooms or anything. But we don't have solution for the animals. And yeah, we obviously don't want to say, okay, for these ones they will go last time to slaughter. That's something we don't want. So for now, Refarm'd is not a solution for bigger farms or for factory farms. But hopefully, as we go, we might see solutions and find ways to do that. I hope I answered your question.
Cool, yeah. Thank you for that, Geraldine. Just on the back of that, I think we were talking about, obviously, I'm not sure if it has been covered because I was focused on something else, but in terms of factory farms, this might be like a different topic, but do you see like a method of trying to, like, how do you suppose that we deal with the idea of subsidies towards these big factory farms, in terms of, do we try and divert it towards subsidies to plant-based farming, or do we try and completely like get rid of the idea of subsidies anyway?
For now, in our model, we are trying to work without subsidies, because we don't have any guarantee that we are going to get some, or that our farmer is going to get some. But ideally, if we can work with that, I think that could be great, because it means a lot of investment for farmers to transition to something, especially if it's something like growing crops or doing any other type of farming, and that takes some years. So for now, the way subsidies work, for farmers, I don't know for factories or things like that, but for farmers, it's basically either they are getting paid according to the size of their farm, so how much land they have, or how many animals they have. And as you can see in both of these options, it really just profits to the bigger farm, which is the problem, because it's the smaller one where you who struggle the most, and that's why we also want to help them. So it really doesn't make sense to have subsidies working like that, just paying people because they have a huge land. Now they are trying to change that. I'm not an expert on that, but I've talked with some experts on that, and they're going to be defining new ways of how the subsidy will work. I think it's going to happen in 2022 or something. And they want now, there are some groups pushing to try to make so that subsidies go not according to how many animals you have or how much land you have, but what you do in order to make your farm more sustainable. So a lot towards sustainability. So obviously all the farmers that would transition to plant-based agriculture, they would get subsidies, and this will also give like push the farmers to really protect the soil and help for biodiversity and things like that. So there will be, I hope, changes that are going to support this. And for now, for each farm we are working with, depending on what kind of subsidy they get, we are going to be trying to have them continue getting the subsidies, which can work, because if it's because of the land or because of the animals, it doesn't really change, because there are some, like, I don't know how you say, but for example, they pay you according to how many animals you have, but they don't say you have to exploit or kill those animals. So we might, you know, pass around the things and say, okay, well, they still have the animals and they obviously they're not used, but so they could maybe still continue getting the subsidy. So we're working with people who know a bit more about this on that, and we're going to be trying to at least help the farmers continue getting their subsidies at first, and maybe in the future we'll have other types of subsidies that work very well with what we are trying to do here.
Right, yeah, that's super interesting. Especially, like, well, not using the word loophole, but it's almost like an ethical loophole, I think that
Exactly.
you mentioned. So we've got a question from Lisa, who is from the Netherlands. Lisa, would you like to ask it?
Yes. Hi. Geraldine, thank you a lot for this talk, and also the other two who are involved. Yeah, my question is if there are already some success stories from the Netherlands. My parents, brother, and uncle are in dairy farming, and I would really like to inspire them.
Okay, so from our side, no, we don't have any contact in the Netherlands for now, sadly. And in general, we are just still about to transition our first farm, so we cannot say we have a success story right now. We're really testing our model. So like I mentioned in the beginning, we are transitioning 2 farms hopefully next month, and from then on we really will have more well, data, and we'll be able to really show more if it works or if it doesn't work, or what we need to adapt to make it work. And then it's going to be easier for other farmers or farmers who are not sure, or, you know, to really see if it could be interesting for them. We have this with some farmers who are interested, but they're, you know, still very yeah, not trusting too much and a bit scared, what is fully understandable. And I'm pretty sure that once we have, that's why we're working so hard to make it happen so quickly for the first farms, because I'm pretty sure when we can say and people can see that it works for this first farm, then we will have much more farms and much more people ready to commit and to try things out. So hopefully by then we'll be able to reach well, to reach more people, and other farmers can see that as success story and try and want to be involved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Super. And then we have 2 questions from Marlon about 2 different topics. Would you like to ask them, Marlon?
My connection is quite bad, so it's probably better if you do it, Daniel. Thank you.
No problem. So Marlon has asked, the first question is, what is the main motivation for farmers to want to transition? And the second one is more specifically about Oatly. So Marlon's asked, in Sweden, Oatly are doing something similar with a project with the Agricultural University, UNESCO and EU. And basically said that we don't, like in Sweden, they don't produce enough oats and they actually need to import it from Finland. The interest from farmers was big and more than expected. Have you been able to work with Oatly or UNESCO or the EU to get funding from them?
Okay, so to the first question, what was that again? Sorry.
The first question was, what is the main motivation for farmers?
Yeah. So for now, the main motivation is really ethics. So farmers are struggling since a while with what they're doing, and they just don't want to do that anymore. We have that more and more, and I'm also working with someone in Switzerland who is helping farmers herself transition since a few years, and she encounters a lot of farmers. She helped like 20 farms already, and she told me the same. Like it's 100% of the farmers who get to her, it's because they want to make the change for ethical reasons. Now I'm sure that as we will grow and more farmers will hear about it, we'll have a lot of farmers also come just for economical reasons, because they just struggle and they want a way out. And that's something we fully accept. We accept any type of reason to transition. What we will do though is we have a contract where we make sure they respect all the things we want them to, and where we protect the animals and make sure everything is done correctly. And we will also, a big part of this will also be education. So we will, we are trying to think how we are going to do that, but it would be great to have like mentors and things like that who can talk with these farmers and like just educate them on what ethics and environment and all the things. So the end goal is obviously to have them make the shift in their hearts, you know, for the ethics, but that's not something we ask from them at first, at least. And also one thing I'm pretty sure is that once we have lifted this weight from their shoulders to having to, well, to exploit these animals, there will be they will start connecting totally differently to the animals. They will not have this value to put up on them, you know, where they will not see them anymore as in the same light. And therefore I'm pretty convinced that even those who just make it at first for economical reasons, they would slowly get a real connection to these animals and make the shift. But we will try to help them in this way. So yeah, I hope that answered the question. And for the second one, I'm not sure I get all the questions, but no, we are not working with Oatly or trying to get any funds for now. I'm really trying to avoid getting any funds or investors right now because I don't want to have to, well, I want to do it my way, how I have it in my head and how I have it with all the people that I talked about. I don't want to be influenced or, you know, have to go into certain directions or have to, yeah, to report to anybody or just have to give funds back as well, because I don't want to put us already in debt before we even started. So I'm trying to work without that. And the model we have is, so for the first part of the of what we're doing is funded by myself. But after that, once we start working with farms, the model we have is that a percentage of what the farmers will get from this milk is going to be reused by us to help another farm. So because we are providing these farmers with free equipment, free training, everything, you know, to make the milk production. We are handling all the logistic, all the aspects around the farm for them to be able to make this transition. So we are with this fee, basically we are taking from that, we are able to buy the next you know, equipment and things like that for the next farm, and so on. That's how we sustain this model and try to work without funds. So this is the situation right now. It might change, it might evolve. I really don't know. We're really working as a startup, so we are doing what we need when we need it only, and for now we don't need funds, so we're not getting that. And I'm not sure about Oatly what I can say. Here, what I like to say is that I don't see Refarm'd as a plant-based product. For me, like for the first farm we are going to be working with, we are going to produce oat milk, but that's not what Refarm'd is about. Refarm'd is not about producing oat milk. Refarm'd is about helping farmers transition, and production of plant-based milk is just the means to that, is the solution to make that happen. But our farmers will not just make oat milk, they will start to make other types of milk, and each farmer will do something different, and then we'll hopefully be able to make other products like vegan cheese and vegan butter and vegan creams. Like there's no limit, like to what, like imagination and all the things we can do. And also something else that's really important is that I'm not trying to make these farmers become a brand, like a Refarm'd brand where everybody does the same. That's absolutely not the goal. It's I always say it's more like a label where people will know that this product comes with a label Refarm'd. That means they respect certain things, like they are sanctuary, it's organic, it's only in glass bottles, it's sustainable, it's local, and all these things. But each farm, I want each farm to keep their own identity, to decide what they do, what kind of products they do. Some will have really fun and put themselves into it 100%, and you know, come up with crazy ideas about recipes and different stuff. And each farm will be different because we are only going to be working with local ingredients for each farm. So depending on where the farm is, the products are going to be totally different. and that's what we want. We really want farmers to enjoy what they're doing and not, just become a factory and producing milk that will be shipping around the world. We want them to become to try, like before we had this idea that farmers were producing, quality products. You could go to your farm to get fresh cheese or fresh milk, and it was a quality product, it was fresh, it was made by the farmer, it was local, and you probably knew that every time you go there the product will taste differently because it's handmade. Well, we want to reproduce that, to have a quality handmade local fresh organic product, but ethical product that doesn't need to exploit animals. And so we really involve the farmers in there to make such products. So it's quite a different model than producing plant-based milk, and to have a factory producing and shipping around the world. And so that's why I don't really compare Refarm'd to other plant-based milk producers or even plant-based products producers, because it's kind of different, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, something that really resonates with me in particular, I'm sure like other people who are watching this who might be part of Animal Rebellion, is that there is a focus on economic justice there, isn't there, for farmers, and sort of, redistributing this power that a lot of them have been basically robbed of from landowners. I think like having that, trying to implement that autonomy and like giving farmers like independence back to think about it, I think that's really, really cool. And that moves on to another question by Deep Shah. I'm thinking maybe if either Patrick or Tatiana want to answer this. It's just about, again, economic justice. So do you want to ask the question, Deep Shah?
Yeah, hi guys. So yeah, my question is, when replacing a farmer's income from dairy to plant-based milk, how do you minimize the risk of decreased revenues for the farmer, or is there any decreased revenues that you have to take into account during that transition?
Should I answer, or Tatiana, Patrick, you feel comfortable to answer that?
I'd say go for it, Geraldine, but I might add on something.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. So something we need to know is that if you look at the quantities, dairy milk produces much more liters than we will have them produce plant-based milk. That's for sure. Like dairy farms produce 300,000 liters per year or more, because a cow yields a lot. So here it's not going to be the same scale of production, but the big difference is that they produce much more dairy, but the income they get from that is so low. Like in some cases, in some years, they even get less than what the production costs are. That's why they're struggling so much, because there are so many middlemen. It's going through processors and big companies and things like that. So and they don't decide the price. Like every month, basically, you have the processor, the company that comes to take the milk, and who tells them, okay, now I'm buying you for this price. So they don't have any impact on that. They don't even know where the milk ends up, if it's going to be cheese or sold as milk or anything. They really don't know. So they don't have any power on that. So the production is really different here. The quantities are going to be much less, but there's going to be no middleman. Like we're not going even through shops. Like the customers will subscribe for a regular delivery for every week, delivery every week. So we also give this kind of guarantee to the farmers that there is a long-term commitment from customers, and the income they get from that. So what I was mentioning before is that from all the income goes from the platform that we provide, where people can subscribe. 85% of that goes directly to the farmers. So that's the big difference. So they will produce much less, but the income will be higher. So now regarding specifically to your question and losses, is that with each farm, we calculate the cost they have to handle, the sanctuaries, the farm, and themselves, because I want them to live from that and not to have other jobs on the side or something like that. So, depending on each farm, the bigger the farm is, basically, the more cost they have, because the more animals they have to sustain. And so for each farm, we calculate and we tell them, you have to produce as much, and you have to have as much customers to be able to cover your cost. And so the more cost they have, they just need to produce more. But from our calculations, so for now, we're really in the theoretical phase. We will really get into it from next month on. So but in theory our model works because of that, because we cut all the middlemen and because it goes directly to them. And on the long term, we also are helping farmers to optimize their costs, because, for example, one big part of animal farmers' cost is the feed they are giving to these animals, because they're not just giving them grass and hay, they're giving them grains and other stuff to increase their production, their meat or milk production. And so when they're going to start become a sanctuary, this will go away, because we don't want to make them productive, the animals. We just want them to go back to what they're used, where they're supposed to eat, which is hay or grass. So we are cutting like 30% of their costs. It's about 30% just by removing that. So that also reduces a lot the cost they have. And on the long term, there will be other solutions to help them reduce the cost, like moving to renewable energies and other things, but that's more on the long term. So we are trying to make this happen this way. And another thing is that we are working with a 3-month trial period. So every farmer starts with a 3-month trial period. They can really assess if it works for him, and then decide if they want to continue. And what I didn't mention is even before we start with a farmer, when the farmer shows interest, we start by doing a kind of small market research for this farm, because as we are only going to be selling locally, we need to know if there's interest in this place. So if there would be zero interest, we would not start transitioning this farm right now, because it doesn't make sense. So only if we see there's interest for that, we start with that. And even then we start with pre-orders, so people will pay in advance for their monthly subscription. So we know we have the guarantee that, okay, there is interest, people are paying for it, and then it's where we really officially start making them producers.
May I add on a few things? Great. So I think also I guess theory and practice is really different always, but it's not only the milk that the farmers will be producing, but it's, I think, also all the other benefits that come with it that could lead to more income afterwards, such as once you have the organic certificate, maybe even without Refarm'd, the farmers will decide to start producing other things under that same certificate that they can sell, or even to start growing crops that they can sell. The farmers in the UK we're working with, they don't have the certificate yet, but once they have it, they want to produce plant-based milk through Refarm'd, but also grow crops that they can sell. Or they mentioned to me that apparently with Natural England in the UK, you can have student groups visit your farm, and then you get even paid a little bit for those visits. Or maybe at some point they might even be approached by an organization saying, can we rent your farm for a day to have a conference here? And then they get paid a little bit for that. So it's not that Refarm'd is going to set all this up for the farmers, but it's just things that we hear that we might be able to share with the farmers, or that they might just do themselves to think of extra income. I think the farmers often know what grows on their land or what else they can do, and they are very creative with that. And they might just, maybe we're just a little bit like the kick in the butt for them to actually get all those things started apart from the milk. And we also try to ask the farmers, what else would you like to do, if you're open to any other ideas, so that they're also really participating in their own solution. This will all evolve as time goes, and if other vegans here in the community have any ideas, feel free to send us an email or text it in the chat here. But I think, yeah, there's just going to be a lot of other benefits coming from it financially.
Brilliant. So I think we've got time for one more question. And I think it's something that we were particularly interested in as well. So we're going to go to Kathy, which is about mainly sort of how activists can take the first step in communicating with farmers. Would you like to ask it, Kathy?
Sorry, hi. Fascinating. Thank you, Geraldine. I knew nothing about you, your organisation before tonight, and it was only seeing in passing that this was happening. So I've come in a bit late, and I might have missed some of it. I'm in the UK, and as an activist on the ground, I'm wondering if there's anything that individuals can do to help move this forward. If I don't know whether we can make contact with local farms or feed information back to yourselves, or yeah, if there's anything that we can do on the ground.
Yeah, thank you for wanting to be involved. For now, we are not trying to contact farmers ourselves. It's like the opposite. We are having farmers come to us. So I had some people ask me like if I could give them like flyers or things like that where we could approach directly farmers, but I don't think this strategy is good for us right now, especially because we don't have any success stories right now. That might come later. But as a individual, the most helpful for us now is really to talk about this project around to other vegans or people who would be interested, because like I mentioned, it will not happen if we don't have the customers on the other side, buying these products. This will not manage to have a model for these farmers if there is no customers on the other side. So just spreading the message and sharing what we are doing, it really helps a lot. And it also gives me a lot of opportunity, because through these sharings I get contacted by lots of different people who in the end are helping on different aspects. So that's definitely the most important right now. And also once we start really transitioning the first farm, it's a lot about getting people to know about it, to hear about it, because we'll getting lots of input that will help us, make the right decisions and go in the right direction. So in my opinion, for now, that's the best things people can do to help.
If I'm just going to add on one thing there, I don't know if Geraldine's going to kill me or not, but we are starting a list of potential volunteers. So if you want, I can just put my email there in the chat so I get the emails, not Geraldine. And if you're interested in maybe at some point volunteering, as in helping a farm that's transitioning, cleaning a room, helping with the animals 1 or 2 days a year, then I could just put you on the list and we'll just have you as a backup in case that's needed. But of course, I agree with Geraldine that it should be mostly, for now, spreading the word, and maybe some farmers will even hear that and get interested.
Yeah.
Amazing. So that was brilliant. I just want to thank obviously Sharina for co-hosting this with us as well. Thank you so much, Geraldine, Patrick, and Tatiana for bringing this. We've had some brilliant questions and loads of cool information. And yeah, I think like just any way in which people can get involved, like absolutely, I'd be 100% up for that. So yeah, that is the end of the talk. Tatiana's just put her email in the chat if you want to potentially be added to a volunteer list. And I've just posted the Alone Together program link, which will continue to have some more like interesting talks and workshops. But for now, yeah, thank you very much, everyone from Refarm'd.
Thank you for the opportunity and everything.
Before you go, sorry, I'm just also going to post the Refarm'd Facebook link there as well, so you can like their page as well.
Yeah, we have the Facebook, Instagram, and the website, obviously. And if everybody wants to fill the form on there, it really helps us understand what people want, what are expecting from the milk, and that really helps us as well understand what kind of service we can provide to these people.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was really, really, really inspiring. Like, honestly, I'm always so happy to talk to you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to